So what's the least amount of money that you're willing to spend to turn your iPad into a laptop? Well, let's just say quite a bit if you go the Apple route, because the Apple's Magic Keyboard case costs about £300. But this thing, on the other hand, well, let's be real. iPad's Magic Keyboard case is absolutely gorgeous, but this might be a good alternative. This is the Chesona Cloud Series case, and it costs about $100. I've been using it for more or less 2 to 3 weeks now to see if it is the ultimate budget productivity hack, or if those corners were cut just a little bit too sharp. Full disclosure before we dive in though, this keyboard was sent out to me by the company itself, Chesona, who wanted me to take a look at it for free. They did not pay me, and they do not control what I have to say or any of my opinions in this video, so everything remains my own. You also get to watch this video the exact same time as them, so they don't get to pre-approve this video. So with all that being said, let's dive in and see what this case is really all about. Right out of the gate, this thing makes a solid first impression. It's got a good hefty weight to it, not cheap hollow weight. It feels dense and solid, which is exactly what you want. The material is soft touch silicone. It feels great in the hand, provides a good grip, and it doesn't scream cheap accessory at all. But bear in mind, it can definitely catch up on those greasy fingerprints of yours. And the magnets? They're legitimately impressive. We're talking Apple level strong. The iPad snaps into place with this satisfying thunk. You can pick up the whole iPad by the keyboard lid, no problem at all. The hinge is robust as well. Minimal wobble when you're tapping on the screen or typing, which is a critical fail point for a lot of cheaper cases out there. Now, let's talk about the main event, the keyboard itself. Because if this thing sucks, then nothing else matters. And this can just go in the bin then. But spoiler alert, this thing's actually kind of fantastic. These are plastic keys, yes, but they have excellent travel. They're springy, responsive, and critically, they're quiet. For students writing a lot of papers or anyone banging out emails, this is genuinely a great typing experience. It's backlit, which is a must, and they even copied the Mac-specific symbols on the command and option keys. It's a small detail, but it makes for great muscle memory help. Now, let's talk about the most obvious drawback here, the lack of the dedicated function row. Now, given the real estate on the product itself with the smaller size of the iPad that I have here, 10.9 inches, including a dedicated function row might not be the easiest while maintaining a low cost. But don't panic, you can still access all those secondary functions. Brightness, volume, media controls, all by holding the FN key and pressing the number keys on the smaller iPad sizes. It's not as instant as a dedicated function row, but it's there. And it works. Seriously, for writing, this keyboard is not a compromise. It's a legit reason to buy this thing. And now, we have to talk about the big D, the trackpad. Disappointment, the trackpad. But before I say that it's a disappointment, it is both frustrating and fascinating. So let's start with the good sides and then go into what's actually the compromise, let's say. The surface is smooth, almost glass-like, but most definitely plastic. Gesture support on the iPadOS 26 is fantastic, and this trackpad keeps up with it perfectly. Bluetooth 5.0 means connectivity is instant and rock solid from the moment you open the lid. It tracks accurately. But here's the biggest compromise. There is no tap to click. None. You must perform a physical click, and it's not even a consistent click. It's harder to press in the center and easier in the corners, which feels unpolished. This isn't a deal breaker for everyone, but it is a constant reminder that you're not on a MacBook. Your muscle memory will fight you every single time if you use to tap to click as opposed to a physical click. Now here's a question for you. Are you a tap to click kind of person, or are you a physical click kind of person? Because the answer to that question is going to make or break this product for you. For me personally, I'm a bit of both, but this does get me a bit riled up every now and then when I do sort of switch around. So that is a bit of a difficult adjustment for me. I have to remember to use a physical click all the time. The saving grace though is the fact that you've got a giant touchscreen right above the keyboard, but that sort of defeats the whole purpose of keeping your hands off the screen and onto the keyboard itself. Now let's run through some of the other ups and downs about this product very quickly, no waste of time. Starting off with the Apple Pencil. So there's no flap, there's no specific compartment to keep it there. So this is just as protected as you would without the case. So if you are someone who's really reliant on using the Apple Pencil quite often and you really take care of this thing, well, the only place you can store it will be on the iPad itself. In terms of charging though, it does use USB Type-C, which is fantastic, but in the box, they do provide a USB-A to USB-C cable, and the big 2025, I think that's not nearly good enough. And just to make things a little bit more tough for you, the case does not support reverse wireless charging or pass-through charging, so you have to manage 2 separate batteries at the same time. But the battery life on this thing is actually not bad at all. I've been using this thing for about 3 weeks now, and I'm yet to charge it. Now, with that being said, I have been using it with the LEDs turned on, and the good thing is, after 10 seconds of inactivity, the LED lights turn off, and a few more minutes, the entire keyboard will turn off. So, it does save a lot of battery. And I have left this thing on for prolonged periods of time, multiple times, so I can safely say that the battery is actually fantastic. And the one little gripe that I have with this thing is that the viewing angle is not really the best. Now, it is pretty much in line with what Apple offers with their product, but here it is exactly the same. Not to say that it's a bad thing, but to have a bit more flexibility on the viewing angles for when your chair's a little bit higher or your desk is a little bit lower, it would make it a little bit of a nicer experience to have that extra flexibility. I know you got to copy the thing properly, but sometimes don't just copy it blindly. See if you can make some adjustments to it, because that would have been a bit of a quality of life improvement there. But all of this hardware is academic without the software to back it up. And that's what makes the iPadOS 26 the real game changer here. Now, this thing isn't just a big iPad anymore. With desktop-like apps, the functionality of the added keyboard, stage manager, proper external monitor support, this thing is creeping so much closer to being an actual computer replacement that we might even be there in the next couple of generations. The iPad software feels finally ready to be that productivity machine we always dreamed that it would be, and it's taken only a little over 10 generations to do that. And bear in mind, this $100 keyboard, it's not just an accessory to keep the iPad propped up. It is actually a step further to reaching that full desktop-like experience, and I think that's the real story here. So after all of that, who is this really for? By this, if you're a student on a budget, a casual user who wants a great typing experience for emails and documents, or someone who wants to maximize their iPad productivity without maximizing their credit or debit card. Avoid this if you're an artist who needs pencil integration and full support and protection for the pencil itself, if you're a power user who needs a flawless trackpad and function keys, or someone who expects a one-to-one MacBook replacement, because this is not going to get you the one-to-one route. Now, this 100 quid case gets you that one step closer to the MacBook-like experience, and it's about 85% of the way there, I would say. And to be fair, for $100, it's a compelling argument. Now, are there cheaper feeling and cheaper priced alternatives out there? Absolutely. If anything, I reviewed one of these a few months ago on the channel, but this has its own drawbacks. And when you compare the 30 quid price tag of the cheap one versus the 100 quid one of the Chesona, the drawbacks are very much worth the extra spend over the £30. But with all things considered, that 100 quid price is going to give you premium quality, a fantastic typing experience, and really good magnets with the lid that actually works the way it's supposed to, and it won't drop your iPad the way the cheaper model does. So it might as well be worth spending the 100 quid on the case, provided you can live with that trackpad. But I actually want to hear from you guys. Do you think this case is good enough to replace your MacBook and use your iPad as a full-time laptop? Or do you think it's just not there yet? For me personally, I can do quite a bit of editing using DaVinci Resolve on the iPad itself, given that the keyboard does quite a lot of the heavy lifting for me, because I absolutely hate editing on a touchscreen. But even though DaVinci Resolve is a lot more powerful on my Windows machine, I can get a little bit of basic work done with, say, color grading stuff, basic cuts and edits on the iPad itself, and this case does a flawless job of handling all the shortcuts. Secondly, the trackpad is probably the only other thing that I can't really deal with because I'm just not used to it. But the pencil itself is going to be finding a better place to stay safe, because I will end up losing this even if I carry it as carefully as I can, because I know I'm clumsy and I will drop this somewhere and there's no protector on the case for it. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like